The journey to finding my purpose has never been a straight line, and it has never been a clear road that I could easily follow, because life has a way of giving many questions before it gives any answers, and I spent so many years trying to understand why I felt lost even when everything around me seemed normal and stable and predictable, and I often wondered if everyone else knew exactly what they were doing, or if they were only pretending the way I pretended to. And during those early years I woke up every morning feeling a quiet weight inside my chest that I could not name, because it felt like an invisible heaviness that followed me from one day to the next, and I tried to ignore it by distracting myself with routines and responsibilities and small temporary goals, but the feeling always returned, because I knew deep inside that I wanted something more, even though I could not define what that something was. And so the journey began not with a bold decision, but with a soft whisper inside my heart that kept saying, "There is more waiting for you." And the whisper stayed with me for many years, and at first I did not listen, and I pushed it away, because listening meant admitting that I was not satisfied, and accepting that truth scared me more than staying where I was. And I kept moving through life like someone walking through fog, and everything felt close but unclear, and every choice felt possible but also confusing, and I felt trapped between the person I was and the person I wanted to become, even if I did not yet know who that future person was supposed to be. And during this time I tried many different paths, hoping that one of them would suddenly light up and show me the direction I had been searching for. But each path taught me something different, instead of giving me a final answer. And in the beginning I was frustrated, because I wanted clarity, and I wanted certainty, and I wanted a clear sign that would tell me, "This is your purpose." But life rarely works that way, and so I learned to pay attention to the small moments, because sometimes the smallest moment holds the biggest meaning. And I remember many nights when I sat alone thinking about where I wanted to go and what kind of life I wanted to build. And even though I did not yet know my purpose, I knew one thing for sure: I could not stay still and wait for purpose to magically appear. And so I kept moving forward step by step, even when I felt tired, and even when I felt confused, because forward was the only direction that gave me hope. And slowly, as time passed, I began to understand that purpose is not something you suddenly discover like a lost object hidden under a table, but something that grows inside you every time you learn something new, and every time you face a challenge, and every time you overcome fear, and every time you choose to try again, even after failing. And with each experience, my understanding of myself became stronger, and I started noticing patterns in what made me feel alive and what made me feel empty. and I realized that purpose is deeply connected to what gives you energy instead of draining you, and it is connected to the moments when you forget about time because you are fully present and deeply engaged in what you are doing. And once I noticed these moments, I began following them more intentionally, and they led me to new opportunities and new people and new lessons, and every lesson felt like another piece of a puzzle that I did not know I was solving, but somehow the picture slowly became clearer as I moved forward and along the way. I also learned that finding purpose often requires letting go of expectations that were never truly mine, and I had to release the pressure to meet the standards that society or family or comparison placed on me. And letting go was not easy because expectations can feel like a heavy backpack that you carry for so long that you forget you can put it down. And once I finally began to let go, I felt a freedom that allowed me to explore life with more honesty and more curiosity, and I allowed myself to try things simply because they interested me, not because they promised success or approval. And with each new experience, I gained a deeper understanding of what kind of life felt meaningful to me, and I learned that purpose is not a destination you reach, but a direction you keep choosing, and a promise you make to yourself to follow what truly matters, even when it is difficult and even when people do not understand your path. And in the middle of this long journey, I discovered an important truth, which is that purpose grows strongest during moments of struggle, because struggle reveals what you care about enough to fight for, and what you are willing to sacrifice for, and what you are willing to stand up for even when no one else is watching. And through many challenges, I uncovered strengths that I never knew I had, and these strengths slowly shaped the path ahead of me and helped me see the difference between what I wanted and what I needed. And with time, my purpose started to form like a quiet light inside me, guiding me through the darkness of uncertainty, and I began waking up with a clearer sense of direction. And even though the road was still long, I no longer felt lost, because I finally understood that I was moving towards something meaningful instead of running away from something empty. And I realized that purpose is not something that waits at the end of the road, but something that grows inside you with every step you take, and with every moment of honesty, and with every moment of courage, and with every decision to keep going even when you feel unsure. And today, when I look back at the long winding road I have walked, I finally see that every moment mattered, and every mistake mattered, and every detour mattered, because they all pushed me closer to understanding myself and discovering a purpose that feels real and personal and deeply connected to who I am. And now I know that the journey never truly ends, because purpose continues to grow with every new experience and every new challenge and every new chapter of life, and I move forward with the quiet confidence that even when the road feels uncertain, I am no longer walking without direction, because my purpose is with me and guiding me toward a life that feels true to my heart.